Assalamu alaikum. Let's talk about evolution. The point of view of evolution for scientists is different than the Muslim, and you can distinguish between them who is more reasonable and who is not. So let's talk about. I would say there are two types of evolution. One, I would say this is animal evolution. The other, I say human evolution. What is the difference between animal and human evolution? Both are evolved indeed, we can say that. And the evolution is not like something happen on its own. It is actually the commandment of Allah. Allah just let that happen, and it happened automatically. Obviously an automated process, and the scientist has given it name evolution. It could be like development, or making of, or like creation, whatever you can give it the name. But it was a phenomena which was controlled by, and which is controlled by Allah himself. So how the both evolution are different, we can analyze it just in a moment. For example, if we talk about the power of creativity of God, of Allah, so how he created things. He says in the Quran that whenever he wants something to be created, he say kun, say happens, and it happens. Kun and fayakun, then that thing happens. So Allah do not have to have use hands to just create something. He say kun, that thing happens. So that happens like this automated or automatic process. You can call it evolution. Or he could ask angels to make something, or make something happens. So most of the time he has to say happens, then that thing happens. So how the animal evolution and human evolution is different? uh, let's talk about human first. Human being, Allah said he created everything from mud and water, mixing of mud and water. But for the humans, the evolution was very controlled, and the mud taken for them was from the heaven. We already know that mm, humans, like Adam was created in heaven, and he lived there, and Hawa, Eve, was created from his rib, from one rib. So we already know that the creating from rib is not very difficult. Like human can create, not create actually, they can make clone from, obviously the DNA is needed to make a clone. You give the environment, and a human being is evolved, and the thing, you can create clone, which is actually not allowed to make. It is illegal to make clones, but you can make clone from DNA of a human. But you need a DNA, obviously. That is the code, that is the power of creation. And scientists have tried a lot to create DNA, but they cannot create DNA. So that is something which Allah has in his hands only. So a human cannot create a DNA. So the first process is that the DNA, Allah has given the codes, and like giving a life to something with those codes. So the Adam was created with the mud, then added with the water, and the evolution occur in the heaven. And they had very different body than the in the world. How the body was different? Their body was different, because they did not, we will have that body at the day of judgment again, if we go into the heaven, and even in the hell, because the body will not be destroyed, and it will regenerate. And the food, let's talk about the heaven. the food was digested without creating the feces like that, and you could not spit. Your body was very different. That was the body which was evolved in the heaven. Allah created Adam with the mud and then added water in it, and then put soul into it. That's why, because of the soul, because of the third element, soul, you can say uh, this water and mixing of water and mud, the physical body was formed. But then Allah gave the DNA or life to this body. There were two elements. One was body, you can say body. Then there was life, you can say L for life. And then there was soul. Three elements for human beings. But for the animals, they evolve in the on earth with mud and water, and there is no soul. There is no soul in animals. So Allah gave them life. So mud, water, and plus life. So you can say this mud, water is one element, material element. Then the life was given to them. But for the Adam, mud, water, then the life, and plus soul, three things were given. So when they took fruit from heaven, that was forbidden fruit, that transformed their body very likely very close to these body which can sustain on earth. So in this video, the another question is also answered, that are there aliens which exist? Obviously, the human beings are the aliens. They are very different from any species on earth. That is because of the soul present in them, and they were evolved in on heaven. And by taking the worldly fruit which gave them different body, now they have to digest the food, they have to produce feces, and their body is visible. There is a clean picture of the transformation in Quran as well. And that food, that special kind of food was responsible for their bodies to change into like this. You can say they can sustain on earth like this animal system. So we can say that the humans were alien. They were created on in heaven, and then taking that special kind of fruit which gave them, evolved them into a being which can sustain on earth. And they came on earth, Allah sent them on earth, and on earth they have very likely body like just like animals. But you can see that the intelligence is very special to human beings. No matter which animals you bring from the animal kingdom, they cannot have the intelligence like human beings. So their intelligence is given to them from by default. Like whatever animals is born in any place on the earth, they will have same language, and they will have same, almost same characteristics of thinking and sustaining their life. Same species I am talking about. Like if the dog is born in USA, if the dog is born in like Japan, wherever he's born, he will speak the dog language like everybody knows. So they are given they are born with the knowledge. They need to take knowledge. This is the difference between human being. They are like you can say that they are like cleaned, formatted, just wiped out their memories, their knowledge, whatever they had prior to their birth. they are just wiped from them. They have to learn everything from the beginning. So this is just that's the basic knowledge about the evolution. I will talk about this when I will have stylus and tablet with me to demonstrate it more perfectly and more betterly. And then also I will present the verses from the Quran and also other biological evidence with as well. This is just the introduction of how the evolution occur, and you should look upon it. And people are saying that the human beings and the animal kingdom looks different, and there are some the main point for them is the fossil record. What is the reality of the fossil record? Let's clean this mess. And they say that the fossil record shows that the humans are evolved from the animal species, or they have like apes, and they found the apes corpuses, and which were fossilized, and they say they are I don't know about the carbon dating method they used to determine their age. I am very much convinced that that method, as science is, that method is not reliable on wood, and I'm sure that is not very reliable on human bodies as well. So what I will say that about those fossil records, the reality of fossil record, I can say that I will make another video about that as well. So what is that? All the fossil record were found, most of them, only few like 1 2 3 in other like Asia, like in China and Indonesia, like these countries, but most of them are found in Africa. Point number one is that they were found in Africa. The point number two is that most and more of almost all of them were found in near the lakes. That is the second point, near the lakes. So even the definition of fossilification or fossilization, whatever you call it, fossilization is that if the fossilization occurs near the streams, like the watery areas like that, they say that the fossilization actually occurs like near the lakes. It is actually not the case. Why they were found in Africa and why they were fossilized near the lakes? And the answer is in Quran. Allah says in Quran that the people of Sabt, like the peoples who were hunting fishes at the day of Saturday, on Saturday, they were tested because of their sins, their corruption. They were tested to not hunt on Saturday while the fishes were coming on the shore or on the surface on the Saturday. And what they did, they made holes near the shore, and with the tides when the fishes were coming, and they were stored in those holes, and they were taking it on Sunday, but they were hunting actually on Saturday by different means, like making the holes. So they were punished, and Allah made them apes. So what was that? That was not evolution actually, that was devolution. What I will call it? Devolution or devolution, de-evolution, or devolution, whatever you call it, or whatever name you want to give it. That was the petrification, or you can say that that was the curse. So they were the human, and they were changed into apes, and they died there. And Allah says in the Quran that they were the sign for those time, the people of that time, and that will remain sign for the peoples who come up. There were two times of petrification, or you can say that 2 times of cursed, which were given to the people. One was they were turned into the apes, or you can say monkeys, and the other one was they were converted into the mice or mouse or rats, whatever you call it, mouse. They were turned into the mouse, and we know that both these species, and the data is not like generated yesterday. The information is given 1400 ago in Islamic books, that in Quran and in other hadith books, that they were converted into the mouse and they were converted into apes. Both were the petrification or de-evolution or devolution, whatever you call it. So both species has 98% DNA close to human beings, and in the hadith, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that the mouse has very much characteristics to that nation which was cursed, and probably because of that some people says that, yeah, as even book says that they died instantly, but I think the species were developed from them, or Allah created a species from them, or just gave the example by making that species from them after that. So maybe those cursed people reproduced, or Allah created the species at the same time because of them, to give the examples. This thing I do not know right now. So anyways, both species were cursed to become like they were come from human beings were converted, and they have 98% DNA close to human. Why only these two species have 98% DNA close to human? Because Allah given the curse to the human beings to become mouse or the apes or monkeys, and the conversion was, the transformation was only 2%, and they just converted into those species. And you will not call it evolution, you will call it de-evolution, because the species in the humans were converted into the apes or mouse. And we talked about they were found in Africa, and we already know that what is the relation with Africa, that the Bani Israel, those people, those who were hunting, the tribe of Israel, those who were hunting on Saturday, they were all in Egypt, or then when they were escaped from the Pharaoh Ramesses II or Ramesses, they went into the Africa and scattered in the Africa, because they were not allowed to have a country, and they went near the lakes to sustain their life, and they start hunting. It is mentioned in Quran as well, and they started hunting fishes and lived near the lakes. And the curse occurred to only those who were hunting, and the amount were 12,000 people. And I do not found it again, but long time ago, when I researched about the fossil record, somewhere I found about that, and the human almost found 12,000 samples of those fossil record about the apes. So this could not be coincidence. So what we say, that those fossil records are actually the fossil records of those peoples who were cursed to become apes and then died, and Allah sustained their corpses as a fossil record for the example, just like Allah said in the Quran, that will be the example for upcoming people. So this could be the answer for that, those fossil record. And we already I already talked about the evolution of humans that occur. Allah do not use hands to make anything. He says kun, then that thing starts happening. So it took thousands and millions of years for animal species to evolve with the words of kun. And those thousands or millions of years are just equal to 6 days, what Allah talked about in Quran. So we already know that there are realms which in which their times is very slow, and it already depends upon light, just like I told in my another video about the model of universe, in which I said that the days on Jupiter would be very big, then on moon, then on earth. So the days or the time is dependent upon the light source, and so everywhere the time is different. We cannot compare that time with us. So and there are realms, Allah mentioned in Quran at one place that there are realms where 1000 year is equal to 1 day. Our 1000 year is equal to 1 day, and there is realm our 50,000 years is equal to 1 day. So there are even other realms where their time doesn't exist, and that is the realm of God or realm of Allah, and that's why Allah do not have beginning and end, because that is the realm of Allah, and He is not time dependent. He created the time, but He was not created in the time. That's why who created Allah definition do not applies on Allah, because everything which is created needs a time. Everything which begin with is dependent on time. If he is within the time frame, with the time space gap, then we can say it can has beginning and it can have end. While we know that Allah do not have a beginning and end, because He is outside of the time space gap and He is infinite, so He cannot have a beginning and end. He cannot be created. This is the answer of what is the limit of the universe. Yes, they are up to seventh sky, and then the kursi, the chair, the throne, and then after that there is only Allah, and Allah is infinite. The universe is finite. The answer is given already. And if everything is created by Allah, then who created Allah? That thing, the creation is dependent upon time. That means birth. That means that the time of start, because Allah is infinite and He is outside the space-time gap. Then that's why He was not created. He never has to begin, because He was already there all the time. And even the universe was even the material for the universe was there before. We do not know when, but Allah created it sometime. But on the other hand, these things are very complex, and the human beings are very stupid to get into these things, to start their beliefs. What you cannot comprehend, what you cannot ever comprehend, just why you mess with something. You can see that how they can go on the seventh sky, how they can go to analyze God or infinite being, how they can even discuss about infinity. What should be our concern is that what we need, we should get it. What is the purpose of human beings? And you wanna mess with these things, how can we comprehend these kinds of things? And you stand on the belief and create your belief, or have a belief on those theories or those imagination and hypotheses and these kinds of things. Still, Allah has given us a lot of information, and I am very convinced about this information, and I think every other person should be convinced on this information. And this should be enough answer for everything, I think. Now I will end the video here, and there is a lot more into this in my other videos as well in this, and I am presenting it a very bad way. Anyway, I will have a cool way of presenting this again, inshallah, soon. Until then, take care, and assalamu alaikum. See you soon.